Callie Finn, I feel like I just saw you yesterday, right? It was just
Yeah,
yesterday.
I think so. I saw you and you were in studio with Tarika.
That's right. But we were talking about free agency, and there was so much. Free agency hasn't even technically, well, I don't know. It's debatable, like if it's begun or it hasn't begun, but we've had some
Right.
free agency traction. And so
Yeah.
we've been monitoring like players to watch, and we had a number of them to get through. And there's still one more player that I want to talk about because I feel like everyone, of course, is always watching this team now, and that's the Indiana Fever to see what they're going to do. Expected to make a big leap or to make some kind of leap. It was already a big deal that they made the postseason, and even though they got eliminated in the first round, they're expected to make a stride next year. And I think they do want to acquire some additional players to the team, but I think at the top of their list, their priority, as their GM has indicated, is getting Kelsey Mitchell to resign with them. And it
Yeah.
sounds like, at least based on reporting, that they would be prepared to core her, as
Yeah.
we've talked about, which is sort of like the NFL franchise tag, but they would be prepared to extend a core qualifying offer to her if need be. What I'm curious about, Callie, is if Kelsey Mitchell indicates that she wants to go, would they be willing to work with her on a trade like the way that could potentially be happening with Kelsey Plum in Las Vegas? We don't know, but it
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
Or if they're like, nope, we're gonna keep you here, and and I don't know if Kelsey's unhappy. I'm not suggesting that she is, but some of her comments before the season ended would suggest that she really wants to test free agency, which is not strange. Most players, when they get to this point, NBA as well, even we saw it in the NFL too, Lamar Jackson, like players like to experience free agency and kind of go through that courting process.
Hmm.
And with Kelsey having been at the Fever, you know, her entire career, it's understandable that she might want to. And so she said, I have to be selfish for me. But it has nothing to do with Indiana. It's been great and she likes being there, but she does really want to test free agency. If the Fever core her, they have to grant permission for her to go out there and do that as well. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're still watching for that news. But when you hear all of this, what do you make of Indy and because how important is it for them to keep Kelsey?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, oh my goodness, she is, I would say, vital. You think about how that backcourt with Kelsey and Caitlin Clark started to click after the Olympics. Like, that's when they made their postseason push because they were playing so well together. I think I think, like, statistically, the best season of Kelsey Mitchell's, or the best stretch of Kelsey Mitchell's career. And so I think that, you mentioned General Manager Amber Cox saying, like, she's the top priority. And I think that that's because, like, you see the potential, you want to build on that, especially now that they have Stephanie White, who I think is going to be a really exciting head coach for them. I think when you put it all together and you look at, like, what they have potentially going for them this free agency, it's a lot of really, like, encouraging stuff. Like, you think about Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston are on rookie scale deals. So then if they do core Kelsey Mitchell, they'll have some cap space to probably, work with. And I want to clarify too, if they do core her, they'll have her exclusive negotiating rights as far as I'm aware. So they don't have to let her explore, like, options, but, like, if
No,
yeah,
I wasn't saying that they were. I'm saying they would have to give her, like, grant her the permission to go. Because if they court her, then they'd have her exclusive right. So if she wanted to, like, talk to
right.
other teams, they would have to allow it. Not when I say they would have to allow it, not like they have to do it, meaning like without their permission, she wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that, to me, just I like to pay attention to, like, context clues and stuff, and I'm a little nervous. If I'm an Indiana Fever fan, I'm looking at Kelsey Mitchell and the way that she's spoken about her future with the team, and I'm, like, not encouraged. Like, you think about. I remember when it was announced that the Fever had the All-Star game, which is so exciting. I know they just put out the branding and logo and stuff like for that recently. That was during the season, and she was asked about it, and she was like, good for them.
Right.
That like Magic Johnson, I ain't gonna be here. Like that's what it
Right. Yes, she
so to
definitely
me,
did.
like, and so that makes me a little bit nervous. I think again, like the upside of her staying in Indiana would be unreal. But I think we spoke about this yesterday when we were talking about Satu, is like they have some options if she doesn't want to stay. You know, like there are top free agents available. Now whether or not they'll be able to like land, I mean, I would imagine that Indiana is a really attractive destination. You get to play with Caitlin Clark, you get to be on national TV a ton, that you know your games are gonna have an incredible like
That's
home
something I
environment.
want to explore, not today, but another day, because I
Yeah.
think it's spoken like an assumption, and I
Yeah.
I wonder if it is. And
Yeah. I would
I'm not
imagine.
saying that it's not, but it's more so like some people don't like all that media attention, and there's going to be a lot of media attention there. I think it's
Yeah.
assumed that everyone welcomes that, and
Yeah.
maybe everyone doesn't. We suspect, we hear Nalissa Smith may not be fully pleased there, so we're not sure if she's going to be on the roster, right? And so, and the stakes sort of change for Indiana, right? Like
Yeah.
it's no longer, they're no longer, and I don't think it was meant for them to be a forever losing destination, but the things have changed, and
Yeah.
so not everyone wants that kind of pressure. I don't know if it's pressure, but expectations, you know.
Yeah.
So of course, why wouldn't you want to play next to a player like Caitlin Clark? But and Analia Boston for that matter. But I just I wonder. Same thing with Kelsey Mitchell, because I feel like there's all this plum Valkyries. Like there's all these assumptions she's going to leave. And I don't really hear that many assumptions about Kelsey Mitchell. Like I feel like it's sort of assumed she's going to stay. And I'm not sure why, only because I haven't seen anything reported. Now, maybe there's something we don't know, but I haven't seen something definitively that says she's definitely going to stay. She's eager to stay. And I don't know if it's curious or not that she hasn't technically been cored yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think all that what you're saying is valid. Like, and this is like that's just like the name of the game right now. Like, there's so much. Like, we imagine, we expect, we anticipate. That's really all we can do. Like, that's really all we can
Right.
do, and that's also a lot of what like all these front offices can do. Like, I talking to Becky Hammond, I cover the Aces. She was saying like before free agency, we have ideas of what we want to do in the off season, but we can't call anybody. They can't call anybody until January 21st. So a lot of this stuff is like it's in our minds, just like it's in the minds of people in the front office. Like nobody could talk to Kelsey Mitchell right now, and except for her, like her team, like her front office. So I think that when we get a better picture, and I hope that we will, like I think that WNBA has grown so much, we probably will get a lot more detailed offseason coverage and free agency coverage than we're accustomed to. Because I think we're so used to in the NBA seeing stuff like this player is open
Yeah.
to these destinations and la la la. Like I want to see that. I want to do that. That's my goal. So I think that stuff like that would be so exciting. And I think the Fever are a really exciting team where
Yeah,
this
for
stuff
sure.
applies. Like you mentioned Nalissa Smith. That's interesting too. And like what is Nalissa Smith like wanting? What are like some of her priorities in a destination? Those are the type of things that you normally look out for in reporting around this time. So I'm interested.
Yeah, and what you said about the free agency is a really good point, because there will be more coverage of it. I think we're already seeing that via Unrivaled
Yeah.
with players sort of breaking their own news, as we've talked about Sacha Sable already and how things are kind of unfolding there. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this free agency is covered, and also just interesting to see the deals. We're kind of expecting all 1 year deals because of the current situation
Yeah.
with the CBA and the media deals coming. So I think it's just going to be a very fascinating next 2 years in the W. And this is like the first year of it. And so really, really fascinating to see how it all unfolds. Callie, as always, I appreciate you joining me. Always love your insights. But guys, we will be keeping a very, very, very close watch on free agency. But until then, we have nothing else. Like you, we're in wait. We're in wait for things to start happening. Okay. Until next time, guys.
Later.